Hello guys, thanks for coming back for another episode of your Best Self podcast. And if you're new here, welcome. In this channel, we are talking around different topics that help us understand ourselves, help us understand what we can do to change and improve so we can not only become a better version of ourselves, but to become the best version of ourselves. And this episode, we are exploring one of the biggest aspects and one of the biggest topics in order to become your best self. Today, we will be talking about how to become your higher self. So you've probably heard before this term higher self that has been thrown around a lot lately. And you've been probably wondering, what is a higher self? How do I find it? How do I connect with it? And what is its real benefit to my life? And I get it, when I first heard someone talking about it, I was like, oh, this sounds interesting, sign me up. But I had no idea where to start from. How do I even start connecting with that higher self? It seems so far away from me. And I was just wondering, is this even possible for me? What do I need to achieve that? Do I have that? Do I not? How do I get it? Just too many questions and so much confusion. And that's exactly what I'm going to try to answer to you today. Of course, the topic of higher self is pretty broad and has so many angles that we won't be able to cover today, but let me know if you want to explore it more so we can get into more depth in future videos. So, what is our higher self? Let's start with that. Well, our higher self is our greatest potential. Our higher self is the wise being and the wise guide that is inside each and every single one of us. It's a very calm and a very loving guide that brings out our best qualities. And it makes us question our negative ones. When we live according to the wisdom that our higher self gives us and we follow that wisdom, we become our best self. We become the best version of ourselves. Our higher self knows our true purpose, and it helps us grow and become more aware of ourselves, become more aware of our purpose and what really fills us up with positive energy and what fills us up with love, which just leads us to have inevitably a fulfilling life. Because when you live out of positivity and love, your life can't be anything but fulfilling. This version of us is in harmony with the universe, and it has qualities like creativity, intuition, joy, love, inspiration. Basically, all the qualities that our heart and our soul truly desires to have. I really love the term higher self because it suggests that it's a version of ourselves that is above the current one. It's a self that is above negativity, it's above limitations and any daily struggles that we face in our normal daily lives. But how do we even end up disconnected from our higher self? Well, a lot of us, we are looking for something that will make us feel complete. This feeling, this desire, whatever you want to call it, is there, and we were wired to have it. Because if you break it down, what that desire of fulfillment and completeness is the desire to be aligned and connected with your higher self. So think about it like a puzzle. When you put a puzzle together, you want all the pieces to fit just right so you can see the whole picture. We all have a feeling inside of us which is like a missing puzzle piece. You know, like, where is it? I need this piece to make this picture complete. It's this missing piece that makes us want to feel complete and wants us to be happy and have this full picture completed. This feeling is like our heart telling us we need to be our higher self. Just like the puzzle piece needs to find its place to make the picture complete, we need to connect with our higher selves to feel whole and complete and happy. But what we were actually taught to do instead is to go and look for that missing piece outside of ourselves. We were taught to think that it's out there somewhere. We feel empty inside, so in our mind, it makes sense that the answer to our problem is somewhere that is far away and not anywhere close, and especially nowhere near us. We keep searching for it, we keep hoping it will be in the next big thing. But even when we find these things that we thought will bring us fulfillment, we still feel unfulfilled. Even though the feeling of unfulfillment is a big clue and the biggest hint that we are on the wrong path, many of us, we keep going in the same direction. We keep going to the same direction. We keep searching outside of ourselves because that's what society tells us to do. Oh, you got a uni degree. Yeah, that's not enough. You need to go get a job. You got a job. Yeah, that's not enough. Other people have businesses and they have mansions and they have fancy cars. I'm not saying that working towards these goals is wrong. What's wrong is to believe that these things will give you your true fulfillment. It's to believe that these things will give you the same feeling of fulfillment as being connected with your higher self. Just like your body can get healthy and can get strong from eating only junk food like ramen, McDonald's, and donuts, your soul can grow and can thrive from material possessions. Material things don't feed your soul, they just barely keep it alive. So what the soul really needs is to connect with its higher self. That's why we often feel lost and we feel like we're off track. It's because we're not aligned with our higher self. When you feel lost, it's your higher self of telling you that you're far from where you're meant to be. And to find your way back, you need to use tools that help you connect with your soul and your higher self again. These tools will help you feel good again, and they will help you get back on the right path. When I say right path, I mean your higher path. So how do we find this higher self? Where should we look? Well, we are made up of body, mind, and spirit. Modern society focuses a lot on the body and the mind, but it so often forgets about the spirit, which is where our higher self is. Our world doesn't know much about growing our spirit. It barely knows how to grow our body and our mind in a healthy way. But so many people focus only on their physical and their mental sides and miss out on connecting with their spirit and our higher self. Most people go through life not even realizing that this spiritual part exists. When they hear the word spiritual, they might think that, oh my God, this is too woo-woo, it's just not for me, and I would rather just stick to what I know, just stay in my physical and our mental world, and that's it. When I talk about the spiritual self, I'm referring to the higher self, the part of you that is all loving, that is kind, that is joyful, and is full of positive things. If you don't learn how to connect with this higher self, you will keep feeling unhappy and you will keep feeling unfulfilled, because your higher self is the place of peace and happiness. When you act from this place of peace and happiness, you feel balanced and that all your fears start to fade away. You are led by your higher self, so there's nothing to fear. You know this self has the answers, so there's no need for me to be fearful. There is no need for me to be fearful and to be scared anymore, because I know my higher self has the map. My higher self knows where I'm going, so I fully trust it and I fully let go and I trust it to lead me to the best place to be. By the way, I want to mention that tapping into your higher self isn't something that you figure out once and then you're done. It's not a one-time thing. I don't always act out of my higher self, and most people find themselves going in and out of that state. It takes constant practice. I'm not saying this as someone who has it all figured out. The truth is, even when you connect with your higher self, your old habits and your old ways of thinking can come back. But every time you choose to reconnect with your higher self, you are strengthening that bond. So it's all about the ongoing effort and about the practice that keeps that connection strong. Like everything in life, consistency is needed. Tapping into your higher self means connecting with all the abundance that you have inside of you. So when you do this, your fears disappear. From this state, you can create amazing things and experience lucky coincidences. So it's like when you finish something that seemed impossible and you think, wow, I don't know how I did it, but somehow I did. That's through the power of your higher self. Now, what does it feel like to be connected to your higher self? Feeling guided by your higher self brings a deep sense and a deep feeling of inner peace and clarity. Even when you're going through chaotic times, you will start noticing more meaningful coincidences, or as we call them, synchronicities, getting intuitive insights. You will feel a stronger connection to your purpose and to your true purpose. The decisions that once seemed very tough to make become easier, and you find yourself acting with more authenticity and more compassion. You will also might experience a big increase in your creativity, and you will feel more in tune with the flow of life. Now, what are the signs that you're not connected to your higher self? If you're not connected to your higher self, there are also signs to look out for. So you might find that you rely only on logic and experience for making decisions in your life. And you will find that you're following social norms rather than listening to your intuition. You might not remember your dreams, you don't feel any higher guidance or any sense of greater purpose in life. And even though you can have still a very good life, enjoying your loved ones, enjoying your work, enjoying your environment and the entertainment you get, life will feel a bit boring and lacking a deeper meaning. So that's how it feels to not be connected with your higher self. Now that we understand what is your higher self, what does it feel like to be and not to be in alignment with it, now let's try to understand how to exercise it in a way so it can empower us and allow us to choose our experiences in life. So to make this easy to explain, let's say that we have our higher self and our lower self. And although there's not a lower self, like there's a higher self, we will use this term of lower self to describe our negative and our lower aspects of our personality. Well, these lower characteristics are characteristics that include fear-based responses, which are basically greed, jealousy, anger, whatever makes us react to the world in a way that is unhelpful and it's harmful towards the world and towards ourselves. Most of our lower self responses come from the fear center of our brain. And this fear center is called the amygdala. This part of the brain influences how we act when we are acting from this fear response, when we are scared or when we are upset. It's like a storage place where all of our negative experiences and all of our negative feelings are stored since we were born. It holds our inner child, which always wants attention but doesn't know how to share or give back. Also, when we get really upset or we get really angry, the part of our brain that helps us control our reactions and acting as our higher self, that is called the prefrontal cortex, slows down. This makes us act in a way that we normally wouldn't. We're becoming more impulsive, more irrational. So, for example, when we get angry with someone and we say things we don't mean and that we regret later, and that we feel like we acted out of character, that's because we're experiencing this slowdown in our prefrontal cortex, leading us to say things or do things that we wouldn't normally do or say. And this is what it means to act from our lower self. Feelings like anger, greed, jealousy, wanting power or money, all of these are examples of fear-driven actions. These lower emotions, they cloud our judgment and they prevent us from reaching our full potential and reaching our higher self and reaching our higher states of consciousness. And that's because fears and negative emotions come from our lower self, and they can harm us spiritually because they block us from reaching those higher states. They keep us down to those lower states, and they hold us back from reaching the higher ones. Be careful though not to ignore or not to push away your fears and your bad feelings, because if you do, they can pop up when you least expect it. So once you realize what your fear-driven emotions are, you can choose to stop yourself from acting on them, because now you have awareness on them. So by acknowledging and understanding these feelings, you can consciously decide to respond in a more balanced and a more thoughtful way. This awareness helps you manage your emotions better, and it prevents them from controlling your actions, allowing you to act more in alignment with your higher self. This basically helps you control your emotions instead of letting them control you. Now that we know what a higher self and lower self are, we can think of them like the little angel and the little devil that it's on our shoulders, giving us advice on what to do. So imagine you have a little angel and a little devil on your shoulders. The angel is like your higher self that is always giving you good advice and is helping you feel happy and kind. The devil is like your lower self, making you feel scared or upset. Your conscious mind is like the boss that listens to either the angel or the devil, but not both at the same time. The boss then tells to the big boss inside of you, which is the subconscious mind, what to do based on what he listens. The subconscious mind doesn't question what the boss tells him, what the conscious mind tells it. It just follows along. So if you listen to the devil, you will end up feeling negative emotions like fear or anger. But if you listen to the angel, you will feel happy and peaceful, because those thoughts will be listened by your conscious mind and then by your subconscious mind, and then you will act on them, and the way you act and the thoughts you hear is what creates your emotions. It what creates the feelings of happiness and unhappiness. So this makes us understand that it's important to train your mind to listen to the angel, aka your higher self, more often, because that's what will make you feel better. That's what is gonna give you positive emotions and positive thoughts. Sometimes your mind forgets to listen to the angel because it's so used to listening to the devil. And that's why things like positive thinking, affirmations, listening to helpful podcasts can remind you to follow the angel's advice. You always have both the angel and the devil inside of you. You always have your higher and your lower self inside of you, and that's okay. They both help you learn and grow. If you feel scared or upset, instead of just ignoring it or believing it, just try to understand why you feel that way. Try to remind yourself that you're not the devil, you're not your lower self that is having these negative thoughts. You are actually just the conscious mind listening to them. This way, you can remind yourself that you have the choice and the power because you are the observer and the critic of that thought. And so you can see, like, is this thought that comes up right now positive or negative? Is it the thought that serves me or not? If it's negative and it doesn't serve you, then it comes from your lower self. If it's positive and serves you, it's from your higher self. Once you see that, hey, this is not a thought or a fear that serves me, then you can think, okay, why do I have this fear? How can I understand it better and try to give it attention and compassion so it won't keep popping up for me? So you need to ask yourself questions like, why am I scared? Where does that fear stem from? Is it still relevant in my current life? Or is it based on real events that happened to me before? Or is it just negative thoughts and negative fears of what might happen? Even if it does happen, will it be this bad? Do I trust myself to go through it? By giving yourself these questions, just lets you take that fear and you're able to analyze it and understand it and see it and put it under the microscope to that extent that at the end you basically end up knowing everything about that fear, and you see what you thought it was a big, huge grizzly bear, it's actually more like a small hamster. You can handle a small hamster, right? By asking yourself this question, you get to understand your feelings better and to make smarter choices. Instead of just reacting out of fear, you take a moment to think things through. For instance, if you're feeling nervous about something, asking yourself why and what good things could come from it helps you to look at the situation more clearly. This way, you don't just act on impulse, but you consider the bigger picture and how your actions will align with your values. When you focus on your higher self, or the angel on your shoulder, you are guided by wisdom and by love rather than fear. And this helps you make decisions with more thought and more compassion, with more love, leading obviously to better outcomes and to smoother interactions. So by choosing to act from that place of understanding, you're not just dealing with problems more effectively, but you're also setting yourself up for long-term happiness and for long-term peace. Both your higher self and your lower self are always with you, and they always will be. So don't expect a reward for listening to your higher self just sometimes, but also don't feel bad or guilty if you listen to your lower self some other times. Both parts are parts of you, and they each have a job. They each have a role. The lower self helps you experience life and figure out what you like and what you don't like. It's okay to have these fears and it's okay to have these negative feelings. Just don't let them take over your life. Instead of just ignoring or either believing these fears, try to do the third thing, which is to understand them. When you can face your fears, when you can understand them and you can calm yourself, you are dealing with them from a higher self perspective. This way, you are more likely to have a more joyful and more abundant life without being held back by those fears. If you're upset, it means that you're not fully connected to the abundance of your higher self, because if you were, you will fully trust your higher self to deal with that. When you are centered, there's nothing to fear because you are tapping into your inner power and everything just feels okay. But how do you get centered when you're upset? Let's say you're anxious about a job interview that you really want. Your lower self might start making you worry that if you don't get this job, you're in a big trouble and that there's no other chance. This fear can pull you out of your center and it can make you feel so overwhelmed. When you notice this happening, this is what you should do. Start by firstly understanding that fear. So what I mentioned to you before of putting your fear under the microscope to see if it's really as big and bad as it tells you it is. To basically see if it's a hamster or a grizzly bear. Once you do that, you will already feel so much better and so much lighter, but you need to give yourself now something new to hold on that will replace that fear. So the next step is to fill your mind with positivity and safety. You do that by repeating positive affirmations, by listening to calming music, by doing a guided meditation, by listening to an affirmation audio, basically anything that will connect you with your inner power, where you will see the world as a place that is safe and supportive. This helps you feel safe and less threatened, and makes you more attuned to listening to your higher self and to the angel on your shoulder. At the end of the day, thinking positively and listening to your angel is just as realistic as thinking negatively and just listening to the devil on your shoulder. Even if you don't believe it right away, positive self-talk can still help you. Just keep telling yourself positive things and try to relax your body. Over time, these positive words will help you feel calm and they will help you feel safer. So each time you say something positive, you will feel yourself moving closer to a calm center and connecting more with your higher self. So this is where everything feels safe and you can let go of worries and you can let go of fears. At first, it will take some time to get back to this calm place. So find a quiet spot and stay there as long as you need to feel better. Listening to calming background audio can help you get aligned more quickly because it sets a peaceful mood, it blocks out the distractions, and it helps you relax and connect with your inner strength whenever you turn that music on. So you can use this method for any problem you face. Just change your positive statements to fit the issue that you face. If you don't make a habit of focusing on your higher self, you will miss out on the joy and the safety and the connection and of course the fulfillment that you really want. To keep connecting with your higher self, you need to make it a priority in your life. Just like you make time for your friends, for your family, for your work, or for any other activities that you're prioritizing, spending time with your higher self is also a priority. Spending time with your higher self is actually the relationship that will also help all the other parts of your life improve and thrive. From this higher place, you can bring more value and more positivity to anything else that you do. It helps you improve your relationships, it helps you improve your work, it helps you improve your personal growth. To stay connected with your higher self, just set aside some quiet time each day where you can use affirmations, where you can listen to inspirational audios, where you can meditate, and whatever you can do to make you feel better and it works for you to bring you into alignment with your higher self. It's best to do this in the morning to start your day off right, but you can also connect with your higher self at night to help you solve any problems that you're facing. So basically at night, before you sleep, you can ask yourself, you can use that time to ask yourself for guidance and for help for a specific issue. And while you sleep, your higher self works on that issue. And that's why when someone needs to make a big decision, we say to them, sleep on it. That's where it comes from. One powerful tool to connect with your higher self is also guided visualization. It's a really effective way to quickly reach that higher place within you. There are many books about guided visualization, and I recommend reading them to understand it better. However, to truly see how it works, you need to try it yourself. I suggest you find a free guided visualization online and just give it a try. There are so many free resources available on YouTube. Of course, reading about it gives you some knowledge, but actually doing it gives you real experience, and it helps you figure out if it works for you or not. So, in summary, what guided visualization is basically involving closing your eyes, relaxing your body, and listening to someone giving you instructions. It uses your imagination to see life as if you were only following your higher self. So when you're scared, your imagination might get stuck in negative or scary thoughts. You also tend to see these negative and scary thoughts play out. With guided visualizations, you are able to push through these fears and put them aside for a moment, and you let yourself experience happy feelings and positive images about what you want in your life and not about what you don't want. Even if you see negative images, they can give you some important insights about what you might be hiding from yourself. If you find it hard to create mental pictures, guided visualization might not work for you. And that's okay. There's so many other tools like affirmations, journaling, and so on that can help you connect with your higher self. But it's definitely worth giving a visualization a try. You have nothing to lose, but trust me, a lot to gain. So now let's see, how do I reconnect with my higher self? The answer to this question is that, well, you're always connected to your higher self, but that doesn't mean you're always aligned with it. Your higher self wants you to be happy, and your higher self wants you to feel connected with it all the time. Your feelings and awareness will show you if you have moved away from that connection. If you're not feeling aligned or connected, then this is your sign that you need to adjust and get back on track. This is the simple answer. You always have your higher self. You don't need to do so much to reconnect with it. It's always there. But what you can do is to find more ways to add in your day to align with it, to keep that connection strong. First of all, quiet your mind. When you want to connect with your higher self, start by calming your mind. If you meditate or if you use another method to relax, set a clear intention to align with your higher self. This intention helps you focus your mind in the right direction. You have to remember, you don't need to get rid of all your thoughts. Just gently guide them away from what doesn't align with who you really are. As you become more peaceful, you will open up to a wider perspective, and you will be able to connect better with your intuition and with your higher self. The second tip is to do something relaxing. Just find an activity that helps you unwind. Activities like listening to music, taking a walk in nature, painting, reading a book, whatever that is for you. These relaxing activities can lift your mood and they can boost your energy. And when you let yourself be creative and enjoy these moments, it helps you feel more grounded and it deepens your connection to your soul and to your higher self. The third tip is journaling, and I've talked so many times about it. Writing in a journal can help you reconnect with your inner self. It allows you to express your thoughts and express your feelings freely, and reaching a deeper level of understanding of those thoughts and feelings. Being honest with yourself in your writing and in your journal, it helps you connect directly with your inner self and your inner guidance. And this can give you new perspectives and makes it easier for inspiration and for intuition to just flow through. Once you do it and once you try it once, you understand what I mean. Last tip is to express gratitude. You have to remind yourself that your higher self is real and is always present in the moment. Your higher self values who you are and enjoys every part of your life, even the lower ones, because it brought them there for a reason. So take time to be thankful for everything that you have, including the people around you and all the things that you have in your life. Start with remembering all the small blessings that they help you stay grounded and connected to your higher self. Remind yourself, like, I'm so grateful to be able to be in a place where there's so much sunlight that makes me so happy and connected. I'm so grateful for my morning coffee. I'm so grateful for the people that I have around me that are so supportive and loving. I'm so grateful for my family that helps me go through stuff with so much support. And I'm so grateful for the clothes that I have. I'm so grateful for being able to experience different places and not just stay in the place that I am now. Being grateful, it's one of the quickest ways and one of the best tips I can give you that can take you from your lower self and your lower states of fear to the higher self and to your higher states of enjoyment, happiness, and love. So just try it and you can see by how you're feeling how it can really change your attitude. I'm very excited to share these ideas and these tools with you. And to make them work, it's very important to trust the process and be patient while you're trying them out. Of course, at the beginning, it won't be easy. It's about trying new things. I can't prove the existence of your higher self or show you concrete evidence that the subconscious mind can create miracles. For that, you can actually listen to Joe Dispenza. He has all the scientific evidence for that. But what I'm sharing is I'm sharing what has worked for me based on my own experiences. And I'm telling you that I've seen positive changes in my life from using these tools and from changing the narrative. And I believe that they can help you too. And if you put your heart and intention into them, you will see the results. You will see the connection with your higher self thriving. We've all tried to understand and control life through reason. And it often, most often, didn't work out. I think it's time now to explore life through your heart and through your soul and see where it takes you. Just test it out. If you don't take action, you are missing out on the deepest fulfillment and the deepest happiness that comes from connecting with your higher self. Imagine feeling calm, feeling full of joy. This is what you can achieve by aligning with your higher self. Your higher self represents that love, that joy, and that strength, that giving you a sense of satisfaction that goes beyond any material success. Taking action is important because being out of touch with your higher self can only lead to dissatisfaction that will go on and on. When you connect with your higher self, you enter a state of peace. You enter a state of joy and creativity. This connection can truly transform your life and can make it richer and more fulfilling than you ever thought. You have to remember that we don't reach our higher self once and then it's done. You will have to expect that you will fall from your higher self and you will disconnect and you will get out of that state. So what you need to do is to expect it. So when you do fall down again from your lower self, from your higher self to your lower self, and the devil takes over, what you need to do is to accept it and be like, you know what, I expected that, it's normal, everybody goes through it. what I'm going to do is I will not let this take over me. I will find a way and I will use the tools that will reconnect me again with my higher self, because I can tap in again as easily as I tapped out. And once you do that again and again, and you stay consistent and you don't let it take you down, you will build a very strong connection with your higher self, and it will make it easier for you to tap in and harder for you to tap out. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know if you find this topic interesting and if you would like to go deeper into it in other videos. If you made it this far, I appreciate you, and I hope this video gave you answers to your questions. See you on the next one.